City Council Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole met in council chambers on Wednesday, June 7th, 2017 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the matters listed below. Notice of this meeting was posted on May 11th, 2017 at 1 p.m. and then revised on June 2nd, 2017 at 11:19 a.m. This meeting's being recorded. From the Administration and Finance Committee, we have Councilor Fury and Councilor McCarthy present, and Councilors Dibble and Lovely are absent.
No, big three.
We have a few items tonight. We are going to continue our discussion about the capital improvement plan. We have Margarita Ruiz, Kristen Shaver, and Kelly Rice here from Salem Public Schools, and then we're going to discuss public properties inspection, so Board of Appeals, etc., Health Department, electrical, and then we're also going to discuss the bonds for the capital improvement plan, the bond order to pay for water sewer capital equipment items and capital improvement projects, and the bond order to pay for general fund capital equipment items and capital improvement projects. We also have Sarah Stanton, our finance director, as well, and I guess we can get started. And we'll start actually in the front of the budget book in section 4 is the section that deals with Salem Public Schools. So Margarita, if you'd like to approach the bench, the table.
Bench?
The bench.
Where's the bench, Margarita? You're in charge of the bench.
Raise your right hand.
Okay.
Kristen, come up. Yep.
So just as a reminder, counselors, we did the transfers out last night for the Bentley Academy Charter School, which is funded separately from the school budget. So the line item you'll see in front of you for $56,807,831, a modest 3.21% increase from the FY17 adjusted budget does not include the Bentley Academy Charter School. So just please keep that in mind.
Okay, great.
And let the record reflect that Councilor Dibble has joined us.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm pleased here to come before you to present the FY18 Salem Public Schools budget. The FY18 school budget accomplishes several important things for the district. One is keeping the district on a trajectory of school improvement. As you all know, this year the district was lifted from level 4 to level 3, and a lot of our schools increased their ranking in student performance in the state. We want that progress to continue, so we want to ensure that we support our district in that trajectory. Also, the budget continues to align resources to enrollment and school models, right-sizing staff, administrative, teaching, and professional positions to reflect student enrollment and student needs. So this whole idea of right-sizing according to enrollment, student needs, and that we have our staffing structures to align with that was really key here as well. Also, we have shifted, another goal is shifting resources so that all elementary and middle schools have a full-time trained adjustment counselor in City Connects, and also all schools have an adjustment counselor as well, so that every student in the district has the support that they need to thrive. And also we have made investments in infrastructure to support in preparation for a strategic planning implementation that will begin in FY18 and move on into the next 5 years. Our top priority this year was to fully support the new Salem Teachers Union and AFSCME contracts. We completed successfully negotiations with both unions. 62% of the district budget is dedicated to salaries for teachers and paraprofessionals. I have brought tonight our business manager, Kristen Shaver, so if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to provide answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, that was one of the things that you mentioned was going to be one of my first questions was about if City Connects, if that's included in this budget.
So the money that was from the community agreement with the North Shore Medical Center is not reflected in the operating budget. The initial City Connect money covers needed assessment, an assessment of the needs for the district, which is around $40,000, and then $37,000 per school for the first 3 years to access professional development, training, and mentoring. It also has a database that will be keeping with the program an ongoing research and evaluation. However, what is reflected in the operating budget is an investment on the district part on a position that will be coordinating and supervising all of the City Connect's coordinators. We were able to leverage our own staff to allocate a City Connect's coordinator to our district, which was really great. And then, but the money from the community benefits agreement is not reflected in the operating budget, so I wanted to clarify that.
Just a point of clarification for counselors, the reason that we're guiding you to section 3 is that's the budget presentation that was given to the school committee from the district. In 25, you'll see that the headings are a little bit off and that some of the numbers are a little bit off, because when the school department votes their budget, we've already started printing our budget. So that's why section 3 reflects the most accurate numbers. You'll also see that on your line item cheat sheet. For those counselors looking in section 3, just as another point of clarification, it does provide the breakdown of each department, administrative staff, paraprofessionals, teachers, et cetera, line by line by line. So it's a better reference point because that is what was presented and approved by the school committee.
And let the record reflect that Councillor Sargent, as a member of the Committee of the Whole, has joined us. Any questions, Councillor Fury?
Yes, please, Mr. Louise. The team, outstanding team, great team. I had the pleasure of serving on the school committee for 12 years, before your time, and we've come a long way. We have a long way to go under your administration. And I see great excitement and great energy and enthusiasm going on. Even looking at the interview process that you went through, a very difficult interview process to go through, I can see the excitement. You can watch the body language, you can see the people involved in the school committee, those on the committee itself to select the superintendent, which is the most important job of any school committee, is to pick the superintendent of schools. And I can see the excitement, the energy back then. And I said, wow. There's an exhibit down the PBS museum where I just came back from working called Wow. I can see wow in the faces. I can see it even now. So the excitement, the energy, the team effort there. It's going to be, I sent my 5 kids there, and I'm very proud to send my 5 children there. And if I may, I noticed you took on school choice. You took a very conservative, cautious approach to school choice. By limiting it to probably the high school, I think, there, the first year. So I sincerely believe next year, or whenever possible, we could open it up system-wide. As you said, 7 out of our 9 schools have improved their state rate and rankings. We have new school facilities, we have diversity, second to none, exciting new programs, teachers, outstanding music, art, drama, sports. We have visible assets to keep most of our students in-house, I really believe, and sending them to Hamilton and other choices and so on. And I think if we realize what we have here, I think we need to be our best advocates, our best salesperson. Councilor Dibble mentioned this last night at the meeting about letters going out to parents and saying, hey, great things are going on into Salem. Please come back to Salem, consider Salem. It's your home base.
Absolutely.
And your team just shows that excitement. Now, do you see, I think I get some agreement that it's a cautious, conservative approach. Do you see any future of expanding that?
Yeah, so we deliberately took this cautious approach, like you say, to the intra-district, we call it the intra-district choice program, not to be confused with the the inter-district, sorry, intra, we have a choice enrollment process in Salem, not to be confused with the intra-district, thank you, which is us the ability of accepting students from other districts. We were conservative this year because we want to be able to monitor, we want to be able to get some data and really think about, have a rollout of this process in a thoughtful way. And also we decided to start at the high school because as we know, the high school is one of the schools that has experienced the most decline in enrollment, so it made sense for us to start there. But we are going to be monitoring the numbers. We're going to be doing a deep dive over the next year to ensure then what is our next step. So I think that, we're very pleased that school committee was also, in agreement with that, and I think they like that small approach to start with, and then with an eye of expanding it in a way that it makes sense. We just didn't want to go all out and we're going to be choice district, K through 12. We felt that it was important that we did it in a way that it was a slow rollout, and so that we could gather data and be thoughtful about the results.
Councillor Fury, you still on the floor?
Last question, Mr. Louise, is having taught for 40 years, 5 children in the Salem school system, been on the school committee, I see things very similar to you with a human face. Being a mother yourself, Salem. Still at Salem State? Your son still at Salem State?
Oh, he graduated.
Congratulations.
Last year, yeah, thank you.
You can see it, the human face, whenever you deal with education. We're lucky to have, we're blessed to have you, to have this in our capacity. The first thing we cut back over the years, from school committee to now, is maintenance, custodians, libraries, art, music. Yet they're all very vital. And one of the areas that we seem to be cutting back level funding to the point of cutting back is custodians. And custodians back when I was on the school committee, much different school committee, custodians. They're more high-tech people there, sincerely. They deal with HVA systems, security, outside, inside challenges. And I know we have one of the best and the brightest and most talented buildings and ground supervisors in all the world. Well, blessed to have him. Vietnam veteran, very wonderful man, loves Salem with passion, loves our schools. But I saw him at the graduation last Friday night there, as you were there. He said there was 2 custodians daytime, 2 custodians nighttime for a big facility like that. And we have some beautiful facilities. So if we don't invest in our facilities, new facilities, whether it's the Bentley School or Ballard School, they'll go down. That's happened back in the 70s and 80s. When we regret. So what's your views on the area of custodians?
So one of the things that we're in the process of is doing an analysis, an in-depth analysis of all of our facilities, and being able to look at what is the appropriate level of staffing. So before we start, adding positions and thinking about that, we need to know, in terms of the square footage that we have, the conditions, and thinking about what would be a staffing structure that would be appropriate for the district, and also thinking about what is the maintenance program that we need to have in place in order, like you say, to ensure that, we have great facilities. That's one of the things that I really, caught my attention upon, visiting the schools for the first time. But we need to have a plan in order to ensure that they are properly maintained. So that part of the work we are engaged in. I don't know, Kristen, if you want to
Councilor
add.
Freer, we talked about this last night with the school and facility dude project.
Yes.
It's funded in capital, so much of that speaks to the work that will be done at this, but that is that larger project that we talked about with the IT department budget, that is in collaboration with Kristen and Paula Rue to make sure that everyone's working together.
That's a great team. Thank you, Ms. Rue.
Thank you.
And I'll just say, the couple of schools that I visited when I was reading to the kids, or when I was doing beekeeping presentations with the science coaches, the kids in the different grades, they were very, very engaged, and that's really exciting, and that's really, really a good thing to see. That's what you want in your schools. You want your kids excited. You want them engaged, and so I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. And for me, as a superintendent, 2 things. I want that for everyone in every school. And this is for me deeply personal, because I live here in Salem. Although I no longer have a child that would be of school age, I always think about, if I had an incoming kindergartner, would I have my child attend any of the schools in Salem? And we've come a long way. There's still quite a bit of work to be done, but I feel very confident that with our strategic plan that we have just, completed and taken steps towards the implementation of that plan, that's going to bring Salem to the next level. We've done, and there's been some, improvement and some things to celebrate, but certainly we haven't arrived, at the destination yet, and there's still a lot to do. But I feel really confident that this budget is taking us a step towards that goal. So thank you. I'm very excited.
Thank you. And let the record reflect that Councilor Terrell joined us as a member of the Committee of the Whole. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to the superintendent. I just want to say that my children are products of the Salem Public School System, and I have nothing but positive things to say about the Salem Public School System to anyone I talk about. And the only question I have, I mean, obviously, you guys work with the school committee on your budget. You guys punch through everything with that and dotted all the i's, crossed all the t's, and decided where you're going to allocate your resources to best serve our children. I am fully confident you're going to do that. My only question is, I mean, obviously, I think with your leadership over the last couple of years, I mean, that's positive, but I also look at it as we've seen a tremendous turnover in some of the principals in some of the schools over the last couple of years. In multiple cases, the same school change. How is that? Because when I look at it, it's about consistency.
Right.
And the parents expect consistency.
Absolutely.
And I just saw in the paper that Leanne Smith has been moved up. I happen to know Leanne. She's wonderful. I think she'll do a great job. I'm sorry to see Mark go, but I understand those things happen. But how are we poised moving forward over the next year or two? I mean, it seems like Salem's moving in the right direction, and it's like anything with the school department. You want to keep the people in the key positions in order to maintain that consistency and keep that focus in that direction. So, just briefly, I mean, it's your budget. I think you guys have done the legwork to make sure it is where it wants to be. But if you could just speak to that, just so anyone who happens to be watching at home, and doesn't watch school committee meetings and somehow watches these meetings, can talk about because I think it's consistency. Because I mean, I will tell you from my experience with my kids. I mean, my kids benefit from the 2-year program at Salt and Stall, and it was the years in which my youngest didn't have that consistency of having the same teacher for no fault of the teachers leave, for whatever reason it happens, that he lacked a little bit but once he got that consistency for with that program, he was he did fine. But I just think that as you just stated it, and as I read through your mission statement, as the district moves from 4 to 3 and hopefully higher, that we talk about some of that, because it is about you said 60% of the budget's people, and those people are the ones that are educating our kids. So.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree with you more that consistency in the principal pool is very important, and they're pivotal really to establishing the kind of cultures that make learning exciting for our kids. So a few things. One is thinking about how do we support their practice, right, and creating. And one of the things that has been very important for me coming to Salem is creating a professional learning community of our principals. Yes, they are principals of their own distinct buildings, but it is important that we create a learning professional group with them so that they can support each other and ensure that we are calibrated around what we feel are the elements of a positive, school. And I feel very strongly with the cadre of, we have had, some turnover. The other thing about this field too is that people move on to other opportunities, right? And in my time, I did it too. But my goal as a superintendent is to ensure that we have consistency and that the people that we have, which I feel really great about the school leaders that we have in place now, that we're able to support them in their practice, that also as a district, we are poised to support. So the function is in our district, our transportation, food services, all of the other functions of the district are in the service of the work that they're doing at a school. I think that to me is a key part of keeping great school leaders in our district, because then the district is collaborating with them to support the work in the school. So I couldn't agree with you more, and that, I have lived through that as a former principal myself, and also as someone that is in a position to ensure that they have those supports and that the rest of the organization really is oriented towards the work and supporting the work of the schools and ultimately student performance and having our kids be successful in school, which is really what we want.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the superintendent, I have one question that kind of dovetails a little bit on what my colleague from Ward 1 said about this. And I'm thinking about principals, and I know there's been turnover. My son, for reference's sake, was just finished up last year after 9 years at Saltonstall. And was, we were very happy with the experience overall. During that time that we were there, we had in his 9 years, we had a total of 4 principals. We had a longtime principal who retired, followed by an interim principal who came in on a temporary basis, did a wonderful job. Then we had a principal for several years, and then the current principal came in my son's last year. So, and the school managed to generally stay forward despite all that turnover and the disruption of having a temporary move to Federal Street for 2 years and back. And so they did a wonderful job, especially in the context of all that. And I know our schools are capable of doing a terrific job, just haven't seen it. The question is, and this goes to the leadership side, how long, what do you consider to be like a good tenure time for a principal normally?
I mean,
what's kind of our target for how long we want to keep them before they start thinking about other things?
I don't, as a superintendent, I do not want to put a number on that, right? Because ideally, right, exactly. How long, would you want to have the same superintendent? Nobody likes turnover. I need to retire sometime in my lifetime.
I would hope you want us to want you forever,
but so ideally, we as a superintendent, I think my orientation is that, if I provide them with the support, with the coaching, with an organization that is really going to be in tandem with the work, everybody wants to feel successful, right? And everybody wants to feel, especially school leaders, want to feel that they're making a difference, that people are talking about their schools in a good way, right? That, and I've said this before, that I want to give Salem a problem, and the problem for the parents in Salem is that they can't decide which school to send their kids to because they're all so great, right? And that we are taking steps towards that. But it is really key to provide the support, because I have, as a former principal myself, I know how important that is. And when you are not able to provide that, or provide an organization that is organized and has functions that support, then the work of leading a school becomes very difficult. And that's what I need to be watching as a superintendent, so that I can provide the supports and the resources that they need to be successful. To the extent that I can do that, then we are more likely to have less turnover in the district. So, and that to me, and I lived that myself. So that's, I aim to do that, but I don't want to put a number on that, because, obviously I tell them all that I want them here forever, and I don't want to have to talk about people moving on to other, but the reality is that, sometimes people make a decision to move into another opportunity, and we support them in that as well, but my goal is to keep them here.
I'm sure deep down inside there's a number in your head that if they leave before that, you go, oh no. But
well, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, and again, like with any job, I don't think that that's different with any job, right? Any employer that hires someone wants to keep that employee for a good length of time. But I don't think we put numbers on that.
I just hope we can maintain or get to the point where some of the schools have had good long-term, tenure there. I look forward to us getting to the point where we have that, pretty consistently. So.
Me too. I share in that with you.
If I can ask another question, actually. I think it was the previous budget that there were concerns about paraprofessionals, and so where are we with the para?
So every year with the paraprofessional pool is pretty, some of them are pretty transient. So we have every year a number of paraprofessionals that decide to move on to other opportunities. But this year in the staffing, our staffing with paras is pretty stable. And one of the things that we aimed at doing with this particular budget, and is how do we deploy deploy our people strategically across the district so that we can do it in a cost-effective way, while at the same time, more importantly, we're meeting the needs of our kids, so that the paraprofessionals follow the kids, right? That's where they go. So, we feel good about the staffing level that we have with paraprofessionals. Now, it is also a lot of it driven by student need. So, but this year we didn't have a whole bunch of only five reductions in that. So, but given the pool of staff that we have, we feel that that's pretty minimal.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. I sit here with some pride. I know you, known you for a while, but when you're sitting there, and I was very happy when you got this job, and last year was my first year as a counselor, and it was your first full year as a superintendent at the same time. You sit here tonight with pride when you're talking about your child. And then 30 seconds later, you had the same smile, the same enthusiasm, if you would, for all of Salem's children when you started talking about the children in the schools. And then later you had the same smile when you were talking about one of the programs. So it's clear that you care about our children, so thank you for that. I know your son, and I want to say that he is one of the most respectful young men I know, anywhere.
Thank you.
You've done a great job with him, so keep doing a great job for all of our children.
That's the goal.
But I do like the pride in your face, and you need to know that it showed in your comments. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to compare really fast the fiscal year 2017 budget to the fiscal year 2018 budget, the total. There's so many line items, and see where we're at.
Sure.
As a total.
Yep, so the adjusted line item, Counselor, and you can find that in section 3 under your recap.
If you can give me the bottom line
Yep,
totals.
sure. So for the school department, rolling down here, the adjusted budget, which is what we compare on for FY17, it's $55,041,847. This year's number is $56,807,831, an increase of $1,765,984, or 3.21%.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It's difficult to add them all up, although so you found it fast. Because you wrote this thing, so it's good.
No, these guys wrote this thing. I just made sure it balanced with our thing.
Okay, switching gears a little bit. Can we talk about school choice a little bit at the high school and just hear your explanation of why we did it this year?
So this year, it was a measure of twofold. I think, I think I addressed that before, which is the high school. We've talked about our district having experienced some decline in enrollment, and that has been more sharply seen at the high school. And the opportunity for us to be able to take a look at that. And we also looked at other districts in the area that are, we're in good company and, in the North Shore and on this front, that it posed an opportunity for us to be able to think about enrollment and to bring, some resources with the students. We've had, over the years, many inquiries of, students that, for example, our music program in Salem, which is I think the pride and joy of this district, it draws a lot, and I have fielded questions from people, you have a great music program, and I think that looking at the high school, starting in 9th grade, which is really where we're starting this process, so we don't want to start it later at the high school. We want to be able to start them early at the beginning of the high school so that we get to have them in the district. I think that it is something that we explore. We're starting small. We're starting with a total number of 20 students, and we just want to see how that goes this year, and monitor that. But I think that is an area that we think is, could be, a potential area for us to look, and I was saying before, to think of a rollout in the district, so that we can bring even higher enrollment in the district. I think it would be great, and add to some of the great things that we have in our district.
So we're not doing this to balance a budget or to get the money coming in. It's going to complement our school system.
It's going to complement the school system, absolutely.
I want to point out, 23 years ago, another abutting town to Salem had a deficit of, let's say, $200,000. They divided that out, how many pupils, and boom, lo and behold, that's the exact same number that they accepted that year. The following year, their budget was balanced, and they said no, and every year after that, they said no. So I want to make sure we're not, we need to look at the families and the children, not do this as a one-time thing, because the next year, the little sibling might come in. So if we're going to close this program, we should allow the siblings to come in if that's an option.
Right, and so, like I said, this was not a budgetary measure, I can assure you that. And I think, and that's, we're starting small simply because we want to be thoughtful, we want to be able to see what, how many students we get, and what would be the next logical step to increase this, which would very likely be at the high school. Like I said, it's a school that stands to benefit from that because of the slight decline in enrollment.
The private schools in the non-Salem, City of Salem schools, the charter schools and choice programs on it, they do a great job at recruiting. Sometimes they do a great job and we lose a lot, and sometimes they do less.
Yeah.
Last year, we talked about ways to get the middle school students into the high school and ways to maybe bring back some of the choice and charter or vocational students, doesn't matter, bring them back and have them take a second look. I know a previous superintendent sent out a letter about 20 years ago, I'm guessing what year, I'm not sure. And some 25 students at $5,000 a whack all came back to Salem. And they stayed all the way through, I know quite a few of the families, they stayed all the way through high school. What were you able to do this past year to help recruit and bring them back to our awesome school system?
Yeah, so I can give you a very concrete example. At the Collins Middle School, the principal at the Collins has been very proactive about sending, creating materials around about the school. And if you haven't, I want to take this opportunity to invite you to come visit the Collins Middle School. They have an exciting STEM program that is developing, and it's great. And we've had many families. So one of the things that the school is doing is that they're not having just one open house for the families. It's rolling throughout the year. The school has been successful in enrolling and having kids either come back from some of the charter schools or stay, or parents that in our own district that were thinking, I have a 5th grader, I'm not sure that I want to keep my child in Salem for 6th grade. We're seeing an uptake in the families that are deciding to say, what, I'm going to send my child to Collins. So that's a very specific example of how we're doing that. We're also improving our ability to communicate and be able to send out information about the district. We're not where we want to be. I think that we are going to, I'm sure you saw in the budget, that one of the things that we want to overhaul for the district is the website, which is really the public-facing online of Salem Public Schools, to be able to really show to the community out there the great things, because we have a lot of great things happening in our district. There's areas that we need to improve, but there's a lot of great things. I don't know that many people out there know that at the Collins Middle School we have a great STEM program that is, and they have received grants, and our kids are, working on robotics. They were working on an experiment with tadpoles that was going to be sent to the space station, and I don't know that a lot of the community knows about that, and we've talked about that in school committee. So those are the things that, as a district, we are thinking about our communication platform, and we're getting much better at it, and that we hope to highlight in one of the structures that we'll have in place, which is the new website. And then doing things like what the Collins Middle School is doing, which is regular tours of the school and having families come and see what we have to offer. But we have to do more of that as a district, and we're thinking, we're developing even better ways of doing that. So I agree with you that piece is something that we need to, and we're thinking very strategically as to how we can expand that, but we already have some good work happening. And, at the Collins Middle School, it's great. So I urge all of you to come visit. Give me a call and we'll make that happen, because a lot of great things are happening there.
I couldn't agree more. When my children advanced from Saltonstall through Collins and then through Salem High School, they got a wonderful education all the way along the whole line. They're long out of college, went to 3 very good colleges, and they're all doing well. So you can get a phenomenal education here in the Salem Public School System. And some of the things that you've implemented over the last year, I really enjoy reading about. I just want to hear that. I want to see you promoting it even more and bragging, if you would, to everybody, and send the letter that I asked for last year, send it out to the charter families and to the choice families and say, here's what we're doing. And I bet a whole bunch of them will come back. So, along with the money that we don't have to send elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I know there's a few families that are unhappy with where they're at, and I think a simple, very short letter might entice them to come back.
Yeah, and a lot of, I couldn't agree with you more, and a lot of the work in this past 2 years has not only been in improving the instruction and student performance, but also improving our infrastructure and our ability to do that. And like this year, we rolled out a new student information system that has, really enhanced our capacity to be able to have the data at our fingertips and that speaks to the kids in the district. But those are the pieces that we need to have in place in order to be able to do what you're saying even more effectively. So I hear you loud and clear. I'm on the same page, and we are through the design of our website. That is also going to be another big step into really being able to promote what the great things that our district are doing, that we're doing in our district, and thinking about what are some of the materials and the visuals that people need to see about. Because one thing is to say, oh, Salem has a great music program. Another thing is to show a picture or a video of the music in the evening, event at the high school where you see all of the bands playing together. And that is a powerful visual that, speaks volumes about the district. So I couldn't agree more, and we are developing our ability to do that even more effectively for next year.
I know our fine reporter from the Salem News is over here, and he's just dying to write about the awesome programs that you have at our school system. One last point, Madam Chair. When my children went through the system and graduated back in 2010 and before, there was a big bubble, a balloon of population in the student base. And it's cyclical, goes up and down. So with that, you need to hire more staff, and then a few years later, maybe transfer staff from one school to another, or lay some off, or move them on, or not rehire them when they retire, that type of thing. I'm told that a parent that lives in Ward 7 near Fantasy Island asked me to ask this question, and I'm going to stop on this one. She says, and I'm not sure if it's true, but she says the staffing, she's a recent, her child just graduated last year. I think it was, maybe the year before, but I think it was last year. The staffing has been reduced to reflect the cyclical volume of students coming in and out of our system. But the administration staff was not reduced, in her opinion. Is that true? And if so, why wasn't it reduced?
You mean for this particular budget year? Because there was a reduction in the administration. If you're asking specifically about the high school, there was a reduction in the administration structure at the high school.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if she's speaking specifically in the high school. I think she's talking more district-wide or administration-wise in your office or...
I mean, I think, so When I talk about right sizing, the budget achieve the right sizing as compared to enrollment, we look at two things. We look at the schools and the level of enrollment that schools have and the level of staffing that the school needs. And then also thinking about our district in general and the functions that we need to have in order to bring our district, to the next level. And one, issue in particular is, for example, communications. The issue that we were talking about. Do we have the capacity as a district? We need to have the capacity to be able to put this communication out. And we need to have the capacity of having a very robust human resources function in the district. Transportation, food services, and the people and teaching and learning, right, which is an entire branch of our district, and the pupil personnel services, which is really the branch that looks at supporting our students. We need to have, and this relates to my point that I was saying before about delivering to schools a professionally organized and robust organization that can support the work of the schools. That, it is the perennial discussion between, the central office versus the school level, and, we just need to fund the schools and not the central office. The reality is, in my experience, and having worked now in two very different districts, one that was large and now in Salem, that you need to have both really, organized in a robust way. And the actual, and I'm not quite sure exactly what administration, was being thought of when the question was drafted, but I also believe that the way that we have structured the functions in what we call central office has been in a way that is allowing for the infrastructure of our district to move forward and really to improve. That you really, you can't see one versus the other. And there have been some reductions in terms of the right sizing of the staffing for the children. So that in the school level, that, is key. But then also looking at, how do I explain this? It's not about reducing equal parts of the organization. I guess that's what I'm trying to explain. That in order for us to be able to support our schools, we need to have an effective human resources, human capital function. We need to have a great parent information center. We need to be able to have transportation, food services. We need to be able to effectively negotiate a contract with our unions, right, that will allow to forward this work. All of that is a bucket of work that requires manpower that a superintendent alone cannot do. Otherwise, you would have a superintendent and a secretary, and that, life would be good. But the reality is that you need to, it's like any large organization, you need to have these departments in the service of schools. And to the extent that we provide effective services, that we are organized, that we're data-driven, that we're able to support the work of schools, our schools then can focus on the work that they need to focus on, which is really teaching and learning and the business of helping our students be successful, like your sons, have been, and my son as well, although he didn't attend Salem. So I think that is the orientation that I have about this work that is really key. In my experience, some districts, have made the mistake of really downsize their functions in the district to the point that they're not able to support effectively schools. And that becomes an obstacle in the driving of student performance. I believe I lived that in another district. So for me, it's about, and it goes about this whole issue, it's also related with the retention of great school leaders. It's about supporting the great work. We have, great schools that are doing great work, but then if we start scaling back and having, principals have to worry about, oh my goodness, the food services or the buses or this and that, or that we were not able to effectively negotiate a contract that allows them to do the work that they need to do, then that becomes a hindrance in what we ultimately want, which is fabulous schools and great schools for Salem.
Thank you for that answer, a very good answer. I want to hear you keep on bragging about, not here, I want to hear you keep bragging about our fine schools and what colleges and universities they go on to. So can this past group rattle off 3 universities of prominence that our students are going to from this past graduation?
Oh, wow. So Brown, I believe we have a student going to Yale, and
UPenn, Syracuse,
UPenn.
UW. I was just at the Rotary Scholarship last week.
Northwestern.
We send a lot of kids to really fine universities, and we should brag about that.
Right. And I want to send many more. I think that's, for me, I have very high expectations for our children in Salem. I have high expectations, and also my work is directed to being able to provide every single student in this city, in the very least, the same opportunity that I had, which was I was able to attend college, I was able to get a degree, I was able to follow my passion in what I love to do, and I have been successful at it, to the point, that I have been able to become, a superintendent, even though I'm a former English language learner myself. And that's what I want for every student in Salem.
So keep speaking with pride, like the way you do for all of our children, but just brag more about our programs that we have. Justin's listening. He wants to hear some cool programs. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. And then I have to go to another meeting in a bit, but I wanted to hear some of this. If you want a video to promote the music program, I believe a certain counselor's eldest son participated in one a few years ago that you might want to look up and share with people.
I'm taking notes.
There's some memories of that. But
Great.
No, just, So, speaking to the school choice question, because this is something I followed for a few years before it finally came to pass. I understand that we've had the overall declining population some because of kids who've choiced out, kids who've gone to other schools within, other schools within our district, like the academy, like Essex Tech and all. Of my son's roughly, I think the 45 kids from my son's Salt and Stall graduating group, about 10 of them went to Essex Tech, another 8 or 9 went to the academy, a couple more went to other districts, and then the rest of them went to the high school. So obviously there's an issue, there's something to that, and as that goes across other schools. What I have is, I know we have our fixed cost of infrastructure, cost X amount to operate the schools regardless of how many students you have. And I know that you have made some adjustments to personnel to deal with some of those declines. I appreciate that, that's necessary, even if unfortunate. The question is, how much do you, I think 20 is probably a fairly, it's like a relatively safe starting point in a sense. How far do you see this hoping to go with it? And as as kind of a follow-up to it is, how far do you think this goes before we have to start correcting in the other direction? And before that, I'll comment quickly about the front office versus the administrative versus the delivery side. I remember when this district kind of hit its low point back in the 2011-2012 year. And I remember, because I was one of the people who read that whole DESE report at the time. And one of the things that was a criticism of our district and was that we had cut too much in the central office. We'd cut too much administrative, and we'd taken away too many of those functions when we were trying to save a few bucks on the system. And I know, some of your work and some of Dr. Russell's work before, as your predecessor, was to try and repair a lot of that infrastructure to make the delivery support something that was more possible. So, you know, I appreciate what had to go on in order to get to that point. I know all the schools have vice principals now, which is leadership help that they didn't have before. You know, and I know you've put some more function into the central office to try and support that, and we've merged the IT organizations between the school and the city. So, you know, I get the delivery issue there and appreciate that. I know hopefully we can wind up growing the school population to the point where we're not thinking about that anymore.
That's
so,
right.
anyhow, on the choice question, how far do you think this has to go before we have to start looking in the other direction?
So that's precise. So two things about that. First of all, the 20 students, just to speak about the staffing structure, the 20, kind of the cap of 20, that is the number that we feel that the ninth grade can take with the current staffing structure that we have here. So that's one thing. The other thing is that that's precisely what we want to do. We want to be able to, and that's why we started small, because we want to be able to see, okay, how many students we actually get. What, you know, what are the benefits in terms of, you know, of cost? Because this was really not done as a budgetary measure, right? So we need to make, you know, to do an analysis of what, you know, what are the repercussions here? What are some adjustments? And what about if we think about then rolling, you know, more students out, say, in grade 10 for the following year? You know, these are all things that we want to be thoughtful about this year, that I don't have all the answers for you, because this is something new for the district. So that's, I think that we're being responsible and careful and thoughtful in starting small, and then looking how that implementation goes this year, kind of do an analysis, and then decide, you know, can we take more students? At which point also is this going to be, whoa, now we have many more students, this is, you know, we need more staff. You know, that's something that we need to see.
So if it brings us better utilization of our existing resources, for starters, great, and a little revenue on top of it is a bonus. But if it's very successful, then perhaps we're the district that's putting in some staff to deal with these things. And I guess if we're bringing in that inter-district revenue, that's
Right.
That's a good problem to have. So.
Right. So we'll see, and we're, as a district, we are in the driver's seat. So in the sense that, we get, the good thing about this program is that we get to control how many students, how many grades. Do we want to do it for just 2 grades? Do we want to do it for the entire district? So I think that was what was also attractive to us, is the great flexibility that we can have as a district in this program. So, so right now, I just want to, look and see what, how the program pans out this year, and, provide, I'm sure school committee would want to have an update on that, and I'm sure you'll hear about it. So I think that, the key here is that we just want to be careful and thoughtful as we're doing this year, and get the data and find out what, how this pans out for the district. Because obviously we want to do what is best for our district, not, we certainly don't want to get into a situation where this is going to be a problem for us. For sure.
Okay. Councilor Devil.
Thank you for the further explanation on the choice. As I understand, it's just 20 ninth graders this year.
That's correct.
And those ninth graders will be grandfathered. If they choose to stay, they can stay all the way through. Those rules haven't changed, right?
That's right. That's right.
And the rules, I don't think have changed either for, if we do it next year, the siblings will have first option. Is that correct?
Given our enrollment, so that's
If
where...
there's room at each grade.
Right, exactly. So that would, then our district enrollment policy would kick in, right? Because right now, that's the same for a Salem resident, right? A Salem resident, a student that lives in Salem, their sibling has preference as part of our assignment policy. The assignment policy would then also kick in for those students that entered from other districts that are now part of the Salem Public Schools.
I like the fact that you're going slow and make sure we get it right. We don't overpopulate our classrooms, et cetera. So it can only complement our awesome programs.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
remind you, yesterday, I've been to every single budget meeting, but yesterday I let you know I had to leave early. It's
Yes.
that time.
Okay.
I need to excuse myself. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Then let the record reflect that Councilor Dibble has departed. Are there any, Councilor Fury?
My last year on the school committee that I served on for 12 years, I loved, we went through a very difficult, divisive strike, teacher strike, to break down communications. And we've come a long way now. It's nice to see a multi-year contract from the mayor on down, with all the work that you've done, to see a multi-year contract, to see the teachers respect and recognize their role and responsibility and the aides and all the collective bargaining agreements you've done. To see that brings a breath of fresh air throughout the whole system. For teachers to stay, administrators to stay, students to stay, the vitality to a vibrant school system. So it's a credit. Collective bargaining is not an easy thing to deal with, God bless you. And it's very hard, very difficult, very time consuming. One of the hardest roles of any school committee person is working with that and the superintendent. Congratulations. It's nice to see that climate, that communications be taking effect. What I see back when I was on the school committee is night and day. It's really beautiful. I wish there was a teacher back now teaching in the Salem. Such a nice atmosphere. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the committee or committee of the whole? Councilor McCarthy?
I only have one question.
Okay.
I'm in tab 25. Do I have to go through each one, or can I just go to the end?
No.
You vote the
No,
56,
we vote.
807.
Okay.
A motion then.
We could make you do it for
No,
funsies.
no, it's quite all right. Read enough numbers last night. Thank you, Madam Chair. Seeing no further discussion, I move to approve the department vote total for the school department, the amount of $56,807,831.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy moves to approve the school personnel, non-personnel expense budget in the amount of $56,807,831, seconded by Councilor Fury. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To all the members of City Council for your support and continued partnership and onward and upward with ideas.
Kind of make that easy for us.
That's what we aim to do. So
I'll send you the link to the YouTube video.
please do. Please do. I'll be looking for that. Great. Thank you.
So since we've...
John Giardi's not sure if he can make it this evening.
It's right
so-
here.
Oh, John Giardi.
Timing? Quick
Okay.
timing? ESP?
Put him right on the hot seat. Just sit him down.
So we'll go right to, or does Larry? Huh?
Have Larry go. He's
Okay, so we will go to section.
Yeah, we can take Larry. Totally fine.
16.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Larry.
Evening.
Good evening, Larry.
So a couple notable changes in the health department budget. You see an increase in hour for part-time code enforcement going up to 19 hours. That's reflected in part-time salary. Additionally, you'll see the transfer of household hazardous waste day, which was previously in the engineering budget. So you'll see that move over, which you saw in the engineering department, and now you're seeing it here. As per usual, a slight increase in rodent control, trying to keep things non-rodent-y. But otherwise, no major changes to the health department's budget. Larry is happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So are we seeing an uptick in rodent needs?
We have just gotten one call so far, but it's time.
Yeah, yeah, and you were so responsive last year. I know we had walked around my ward a little bit with some problem areas. So, yeah, then I mean it's a problem when we have the mild winters, that it's good for our snow and ice budget, but it's bad for the rodent, or it's bad for rodents in infesting areas. So if I can ask, the regional shared public health services grant, that was over $250,000. So which communities are we sharing that with?
We're sharing with 8 communities.
Oh, wow.
So Lynn, Nahant, Swampscott, Marblehead, Beverly, Danvers, Peabody, and ourselves.
No.
Nice memory, Larry.
Good job.
And so we're the lead on that?
We're the lead community on it, and the grant program has formally ended, but we still had some carryover money which we're allowed to carry over until the end of this calendar year.
Okay. Actually, I did have one more question. Oh, the number of death certificates processed and issues, is that anyone who dies at home, or is that anyone, under what circumstances do you guys process? death
Anyone who's
certificates?
died in Salem.
Anyone who's died in Salem, okay.
We kept the numbers even because we hope that our population will remain the same and good health will prevail in the city, and we'll see benefits from other programs we're having.
Yeah, I had a previous job where I actually, there was an extenuating circumstance that I had to process a death certificate, and those are really complicated.
They are.
Yeah. So, I appreciate that. Any other committee members have questions? Councilor Fury and then Councilor McCarthy.
I had the privilege and pleasure of serving on the health board as council liaison for a couple of years, and I really admire and respect your leadership, Larry, especially on a personal and professional level. My only grandson, at 23 years old, heroin overdose on his own birthday. And you've taken a leadership role on a local level, state level, and regional level situation there. And to have that education is the most powerful tool you can do as a teacher myself. And all the things you've done, all the activities and endeavors you've done, you show a human face, and your whole task force a very human face. Some of them have been involved in the like cancer and heart disease. We're all facing someone with those challenges. But thank you for your leadership, and keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor.
And I will add to that I do enjoy being the liaison, that I think our Board of Health meetings are quite interesting and very they're academic and well thought out. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to Larry. First of all, I want to comment on the picture in the front.
It's a great
Excellent.
picture.
Yeah.
It's a great picture of Joe, Keith, and Camille. Though I have been at that flu clinic, and I've got my shots at the Council on Aging. I think it's a wonderful program, and I think everyone should take advantage of it, especially if you work for the city. Just quick questions. I see the variance in full-time equivalents.
That was just, I'm sorry, Councilor, that was an accounting error on our fault. So there were no increases to full-time
Okay,
personnel. That was-
I saw
Yep.
two listed,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. That was my slip.
That's fine, I'm just double checking.
Yep.
And with regards to, I know it came up in discussions with, at some meeting recently, I think it was when the building inspector was in, when we had a meeting about signboards or something. I know that the building inspector's office is adding another personnel at some point, and the personnel is gonna have two certificates, so they're able to do building inspections and health inspections. Is that, it was something to that effect, correct me if I'm wrong? So when it comes to, when we go out and inspect apartments, that they're able to issue citations on both ends? Is that happening, or?
No, Councilor.
Okay.
There's different skill sets that are required for a building inspector and a
Oh, I'm well aware of
sanitary.
that.
And there are different levels of powers that are derived to enable one of the inspectors to enforce the health regulations.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. No, I was just wondering how that would, with the uptick in the amount of inspections we want to do on apartments to make sure that they're maintained, and with all the restaurants that you guys have to inspect, and how is that going with?
I believe right now, Councilor, there's ordinance that is before council,
That's correct.
and that ordinance seeks to change the way we inspect our apartments. With it will come increased fees, which, when it does come, my department will be given the resources to address those things. But, the ordinance has to pass.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Trying to think if I have another question. Do we know how much the pop-ups are bringing into the general fund?
We do not, but I can get you those numbers, Councilor.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions? Anyone want to make a motion?
Seeing none, Madam Chair, I make a motion to move the department total in the amount of $494,469.
Second.
Thank you very much. Council McCarthy moves to approve the Board of Health Administration and Support Personnel and Non-Personnel Expense Budget in the amount of $494,469. Seconded by Councilor Fury. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
On to electric.
You need assistance too? Yeah, I'll pull the chair up.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Well, gentlemen. Thanks, Lottie.
Hi, John.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, councilors, Sarah, Mayor. So, another year. Here we are again, right? Seems like last month. You know what I mean? Gee, let's scroll.
So you'll see a couple notable changes in the electrical department budget. You will see the split of the 50-50 position of the assistant traffic and parking director that we spoke about last night that will be working in tandem with Matt Smith and John Giardi to accomplish a whole myriad of transportation and traffic maintenance goals throughout the city. You will also see an increase to building and equipment maintenance, which is to reflect new garage doors for the electrical department. Important, needed, long overdue. Otherwise, there are no major changes in the department, and John is happy, as always, to answer any and all questions about the electrical department.
Well, certainly. Just a few brief touches, like as we talked about, I'll make it short. We did the bypass road, and that's done. Derby Street is done except for a couple of lights. Looks pretty good. The brilliancy is a lot better than it was, Bobby.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, okay. So that's good.
It was dark at night for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
The Willows is all done over.
Yep.
Okay, so that's another accomplishment. And you know, we've had a lot of work going on. We helped the Park and Recs do the clubhouse up the Marlborough Road, McGrath Park. And we assisted a lot of departments over the year. And I'm not going to go into all the other projects, but if you have any questions, feel free to answer. But it's been a busy year. Everybody's been busy. Everybody in the city, including you guys, have been busy for the year.
So I actually have a question in terms of the outcomes and performance measures. It was missing the actual data for FY 2015 and 2016.
We can get you those numbers, Council.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I think I've asked you this before, and I'm blanking on the number of how much are we saving with the LEDs?
$250,000 a year.
Fantastic. And they look great. And actually, one of my constituents is a pilot, and he says that it's quite beautiful that you can really see everything at night, and it all just focuses.
There was a lot of time spent on that, a lot of public hearings.
Yeah.
A lot of work between Jeff Eli and myself and
It shows.
the mayor and a few other people were involved, and you guys were involved in the financial aspect of it. But we listened to all the people, listened to all the comments, and we put it all together, and I think we've had maybe a half a dozen complaints throughout the city, and a couple of them were just shades, like the light was shining into somebody's window, so
Yeah.
we made custom shades for them, and we took care of the problem.
Yeah.
Full service.
Right?
Yeah, I think that that's something I've always appreciated about your department, that you've always been very responsive. I know I was texting you about issues with the Mason Street, the light at Mason
That
and
was,
North.
that was a tough situation.
That was a tough
And
situation.
we worked
but you-
through it, and
but
I
you guys didn't
appreciate.
give up. You know, you
Your
guys
support was good too, because the guy wanted to throw me under the bus.
Yeah. I fight for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other, Councilor Fury?
In previous administrations, we've had different departments consider their departments fiefdoms, and they don't cooperate. And one department doesn't want to cooperate with another in different administrations. It's nice to see that leap forward, great leap forward, to see you in parking department and the electrical department cooperate for the best interest of the city of Salem there. It's going to be exciting. We've long needed the parking commission, parking director, and now with the cooperation of your department, it's going to go into the 21st century. It's long overdue. It's going to help our role in the city council, the mayor, the city itself, constituents. Yeah, thank you very much for doing that cooperation, coordination that's long overdue, and thank you for being part of it.
Thank you, Councilor. Yeah, just to elaborate a little bit on that, just with the traffic commission, Matt's help, we're working on an overall long-term traffic pattern, so which I think you'll soon see the fruits of work. The first thing we just did, I'll just give everybody a brief. we put cameras on Washington Street and New Derby Street. So now, like when you come into that intersection there, you're gonna be able to, like, if there's 2 or 3 cars, once they go, this thing should switch over. You won't have to wait the full 30 seconds. And that's just the first phase of it. And the intent is we're gonna link all the intersections together. So that's the start of it, so.
And I know that that's really difficult, that I wonder, I firmly believe that I'm actually a red light magnet, but I seem to always hit the red lights as I'm coming over the bridge on North Street. But I think that anything that can help the traffic flowing, but you know, it's like flows one place, but then it could bottleneck another place, and so that's really a science to figure that out. So I'm glad that you guys are working on that.
It's gonna take a while, but
Yeah,
you're gonna see some progress within the next year or so.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, I do have a question in terms of double poles.
Okay?
Yeah, what can we do about the double poles?
Double poles, okay.
Double poles are a challenge because we have to go through
I talked to Committee Chairman Arthur Sargent, okay, in regards to municipal services, and I was gonna call a hearing between Verizon, Comcast, and the other utilities. And so be it, I was able to get good contact numbers for National Grid. These are people that we can go to and say, we need the pole removed, or we need a transfer of a cable. And we haven't had, I've had those contacts, but on a higher level, and they really didn't put the time into like trying to help us out, like, because they're so busy with other things. Not that they didn't want to, it's just that they're busy. So now we have, like Stan Yusevich is helping us out with the Verizon part of it. Then we have Kathy Meehan on Comcast. So we're gonna be able to see some more movement on the double poles.
Okay, good.
One up in your area, up on the end of, I'm trying to think.
The end of Orne and Felt.
Yeah, I've been trying to get that out. That's a National Grid issue because they
Yeah.
got, their transformers are first to come off.
Right.
And I just can't get them to budge on that one, but I'll
I
keep on it.
know, it's funny, some constituents of mine, some neighbors, we were speaking the other day and they were out taking their infant son for a walk and they saw that and they were like, hey Beth, did you see that? Did you see what happened? And I was like, that actually happened 3 years ago.
Right.
And we've been trying to get the double pole addressed and,
I've emailed people.
yeah, and I thank
talked
you.
to- Yeah,
Thank you for your efforts.
okay, I'll stay with it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other committee members? Have any questions? Councilor McCarthy?
Just one statement, then I'll read the total. First of all, John, you know how I feel about you. You do a great job. Every time I call you, totally responsive, and however you made it so Sunday, when I had to drive to Home Depot with my wife to go get flowers, I hit every green light. Just, if that happens every Sunday, I have no problem with that.
And I wasn't driving in front of you because you would have hit every red
I
light.
hit every green light. It just made that trip so much easier. So, but no, seriously, you guys do a great job.
Thank you for your kind words. I've got good people working with me,
No, I
so.
know you do, so, and they work hard. So with no further discussion, I move that we move the department total in the amount of $775,723.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy moves to approve the electrical inspection and maintenance, personnel and non-personnel expense budget in the amount of $775,723, seconded by Councilor Fury. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Stewart. Thanks for your help, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Which one's next?
Thanks, Bob.
Public
Thank
property.
you, Beth.
Public property. So what should we do in lieu of Tom not being here?
Yep, so Tom said he was completely comfortable with me presenting his budget. He had an Essex, Tom was fine with me presenting
Okay.
his budget. He has a Essex Tech board meeting, as you know, he's our representative for the board.
Very lucky.
Yeah, we're super lucky that he's on that, so I'm
So we're on
happy to.
15?
Number
Yeah, we're on
15, yep.
Absolutely.
What are 21D ticket programs?
Those are civil violations, so they're not criminal fines that you pay for violations of city limits.
Snow removal.
So there are not too many notable changes within the public properties budget. You will see an increase for the Director of Inspectional Services and the Assistant Director of Facilities. You'll see an increase in safety gear. It is high time for some new hard hats and safety vests for the gentlemen in the Inspectional Services Department. We're overdue, so you'll see that increase. Additionally, you'll see a few other increases in expense line items, custodial supplies, which is reflective of the staffing moving over, and that's the largest personnel increase you'll see, as we talked about in the Public Works Department budget. We have centralized custodial services so that they are under the Public Properties / Inspectional Services Division. Those are the most notable changes that are highlighted here, and there are changes in addition to the fixed costs, but we can touch that when we keep going.
So what happened, the overtime? There was nothing in the budget for a
So
couple of
that's
years?
related to the custodians moving over. So we moved the overtime line item. So the money that you're seeing here related to the custodians coming over for custodial supplies, for overtime, and for the actual bodies to move was all taken from the Public Works Department. It is not an increase in terms of what the city is expending versus FY17. It's just moving the money from one location to the other.
Thank you.
Sure.
So it's budget neutral.
You got it.
Thank you.
My favorite kind of neutral.
So the Clean It, Lean It, is this,
That's the program where if in fact we have a property where we can't get a hold of the owner and it's a continued nuisance, we may go in and undertake some of the efforts to remove the nuisance. Not city personnel, but contractors, and then we lien the property for the costs. If the lawn hasn't been mowed and it's 3 feet high, contributing to rodents and adjusting in abutting neighborhoods, or windows are broken and
Temporary fencing.
need to be boarded up or something like that, temporary fencing.
I think there was a property on Balcom Street that you guys had done that for previously. Yeah, which was then bought and turned into condos and is beautiful and no longer the eyesore. Which I guess brings me to the abandoned properties, or the problem properties task force, which I really appreciate everything that they're doing. I feel like just when one property comes off, then all of a sudden there's another property that comes on, and it's frustrating, but I
They're
appreciate
nuisance properties, and they're usually, owned by an out-of-state mortgage company, or there's some extenuating circumstance that, somebody passed away, and there's a whole, boatload of problems with the title, or a number of heirs that might be fighting, and nobody's really taking responsibility, and that's what receivership is designed for. The Problem Properties Task Force, I think, is collaborating, sharing information. We're actually at the point now, through working with Harvard, to get to the point where we can predict things. So if we know you're late on water and sewer, and we've had 2 police calls there, you're headed down a path where is there an intervention that we can make to avoid, worsening the nuisance in the neighborhood. We have a fellow that's working all summer out of Harvard who will be working with our inspectors and our Problem Property Task Force to improve the way that we use the tools that we have. So they've helped us create databases so an inspector can go out, take a look at the property, and with two taps on the tablet, a letter will go out indicating what the violation is. And that is really helpful for us to be able to enforce not only the nuisance, but also if we need to go into the court to declare a receivership, you need to show what the issues are and what you've been working on. So a lot of good work's been done in a short period of time. And we couldn't have done it without the grad students from Harvard. They've been phenomenal. What a team to work with.
And again, it's the collaboration of the different departments that you have: legal, you have health, you have inspectional.
Fire, police,
Yep.
health,
Legal.
inspectional, legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicki does a lot of work on that.
Yeah,
Brian,
and
the AG's office, their receivership program as well. So it's good.
exactly. And whenever a constituent mentions a problem property to me, that I explain, it's a process. It's going to take longer than you would like. It's a process, but we're absolutely looking at this because it's not good for you. It's not good for the city. We're working on it. So
Yeah, great.
that was all my questions. Did anyone else have any further questions? Councilor Fury?
Madam Chairperson, we're very lucky to have the whole department. This is one of the most outstanding, one of the many outstanding departments in the city, and it's a shining star, really a shining star. With everything going on in the city, it's amazing what they do. The leadership that Tom St. Pierre does, and his assistant Mike does, it's amazing what they do. It's exciting, so we're very, very lucky to have them, and we're very lucky to have him, not even here today, he's at exec.
Right, he's a school
another
committee member
capacity,
there,
yeah.
right?
It's amazing. They give so much to the community, so much to us. Thank you.
Councilor McCarthy?
Seeing no further questions, I move we move the department total of $567,029.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy moves to approve the public property, building, plumbing, gas inspection, personnel, non-personnel expense budget in the amount of $567,029, seconded by Councilor Fury. All those in favor? Thank you. On to fixed costs. I'm sorry, zoning. Yep, sorry.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilor
I
McCarthy.
move that we approve the Board of Appeals department total expenses in the amount of $400.
Second.
Thank you. That was, I'm surprised we didn't discuss this. Sure. So Councilor McCarthy moves to approve the public property zoning appeals, personnel, non-personnel expense budget in the amount of $400, seconded by Councilor Fury. All those in favor? And then fixed costs.
They are certainly fixed.
I will say that on the annex, the rent taxes, that when I highlighted the 0 in that budget, and I wrote like, we're out of there.
It was rolled into the City Hall annex line above, so that's why that cost is reflective of how we'll be there. I wish that was the case. We are almost out of there, which is really exciting, and I think we're all looking forward to getting to the annex, or whatever the cool name is that we're gonna call the formerly Red Lion building.
Do any committee members have any further questions?
Dale?
Councilor McCarthy?
I know they're fixed costs, and I know these are specific to the buildings. In where Mr. Giardi just stated that the savings for electricity relative to LEDs, where does that appear?
So it's in the streetlight budget?
Okay,
Yep.
fine, that's all I need to know. I have no further questions. Seeing none, I move that we move the department total fixed cost in the amount of $720,625.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy moves to approve the public property fixed costs, total non-personnel budget, expense budget in the amount of $720,625, seconded by Councilor Fury. All those in favor? All right. Councilor Fury? Are we, wait, no.
So-
No, we have to talk about CIP.
No, we don't have to talk about it.
No.
We do have it on the agenda for tomorrow night for A&F, and there's just a couple housekeeping things that we'll talk about just really quickly. I'll be super brief. There is language related to the bond premium application, which is relating to the Municipal Modernization Act upgrade. So you, as the body, hopefully, if it is the will vote the bond premium language first, and then we will vote the subsequent CIP. We have addressed each night that someone has come before us to say, if you have questions on the CIP, so the department head was here to answer. If you have any questions between now and then, please feel free to let me know. I'm happy to get whatever, any backup information anyone needs, but I think the plan for the advertisement is to vote the CIP tomorrow night at your standard A&F meeting at 6 p.m. In addition to the bond premium language order, which we talked about last week, Councilor McCarthy, when Councilor Gerard was unable to be at A&F, that has to get voted first because that language allows you to utilize the excellent bond premium savings that we got that we're going to be applying to some awesome new capital projects.
Awesome.
Sorry to jam that all out so quickly.
Nope.
That's okay. So we're finished.
Yes.
We're very lucky to have you, Sarah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Very
Councilor.
lucky.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
You're
Thank
done
you,
until
Councilor
tomorrow
Fury.
night.
Yeah.
I don't have to read those numbers tomorrow.
I know.
What is the plan for tomorrow night's reading of the numbers? Are we going with one big one?
How would you?
All right, I mean, I thought it was like another department. I went up,
There was another budget to go, right?
I keep, when people are behind me, I can't see now. Oh, there he is, he's back, all right.
You can read one number.
You can read one number? That's fine. I think if we can read one number, I mean, if we can read one number. I think if we've asked questions at every single one that,
So as long as each is voted in committee, you can vote one number.
And you have a record of it. It's
Right.
like, I mean, we approved the warrant in the school department. We're like, as noted on the agenda, and, you know, boom,
Yeah.
in the amount, so.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know.
So you can definitely do one number, Councilor, but the only thing that does need to be separately with the 2/3 and the 2 votes are all the bond orders, because that requires 2 votes. Same with the premium.
okay,
The premium language is adopted once, but the application of premium twice.
okay,
Cheryl noted all of that in everyone's paperwork.
perfect. Yeah.
Good job.